The human exploration ship Wayfarer did not mean to be there. The jump was supposed to be short, routine, and boring. Just another survey hop between empty stars. A small calculation error happened, nothing dramatic. Just a fraction off in the jump coordinates. When the ship exited hyperspace, the stars were wrong. The constellations did not match any known chart. Navigation screens blinked yellow, not red. A warning, not a panic. Captain Elias Morgan leaned back in his chair. He looked at the display calmly. "Well," he said, "that's new." The crew did not shout. They did not rush to battle stations. They checked systems, compared data, and sipped drinks. Then the warning beacons appeared. Huge red symbols filled the main screen. Imperial markings, sharp and aggressive. Text translated instantly. Unauthorized entry Galactic Empire territory. Identify ORB destroyed. The bridge went quiet, not from fear, but from mild surprise. Lieutenant Hannah Reed adjusted her console. "Sir," she said. "We are definitely not supposed to be here." Morgan nodded. "Yep." Sensors flared again. Multiple contacts. Fast, organized, and very armed, Imperial patrol ships dropped out of warp around the Wayfarer. Perfect formation, weapons hot, shields glowing. They were built to intimidate, and they had never failed before. On the Imperial flagship, alarms rang sharply. Officers stared at the strange vessel, now floating inside their space. The ship was small, oddly shaped. No Imperial registry, no fear signals. "Open a channel," the Imperial commander ordered. His voice cold and confident. The screen on the Wayfarer lit up, revealing a tall, armored alien with glowing eyes and a heavy crest. "You have violated Imperial territory," the commander said. "Power down and prepare for seizure." Captain Morgan blinked. He muted the channel for a moment, then turned to his crew. "Okay," he said. "Who put us in an empire?" No one raised a hand. Morgan unmuted the channel. "Hello," he said politely. "This is a human exploration vessel. We seem to have taken a wrong turn." The Imperial bridge went silent. That was not the response they expected. "A wrong turn," the commander repeated slowly. "You are surrounded by Imperial warships," Morgan nodded. "Yes. You will surrender," the commander said. Morgan glanced at his navigation officer. "How far to the nearest exit lane?" "About 2 hours," she replied. Morgan looked back at the screen. "Can we just leave?" he asked. The Imperial commander stiffened. No one asked to leave Imperial space. They begged, they threatened, or they died. "You will remain where you are," the commander said sharply. Morgan frowned slightly. "Oh." Imperial sensors scanned the Wayfarer deeply. They searched for weapon locks. Power spikes, panic signals, they found none. Instead, they detected mild power fluctuations. Life support stable, engines warm but idle. "They are not preparing for combat," an officer whispered. "Then why are they calm?" the commander demanded. Back on the Wayfarer, the crew continued their routine. Someone logged the incident. Someone adjusted the jump math. Someone else heated food. Another Imperial warning flashed across the screen. Weapons charged, countdown initiated. Morgan sighed. He leaned forward. "Look," he said gently. "We do not want trouble. We will fix our course and be gone." The Imperial commander stared in disbelief. "You show no fear," he said. "Do you not understand where you are?" Morgan considered the question, then answered honestly, "Not really." That answer spread shock through the Imperial fleet. Imperial doctrine stated that fear was universal. Fear was leverage. Fear was control. These humans had none. An officer on the Imperial bridge spoke carefully. "Commander, our scans indicate this is not a warship." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Then why does it carry that level of shielding?" Another scan updated. New data flooded in. defensive systems far beyond civilian standards. Not aggressive, but absolute. On the Wayfarer, a system chimed softly. Auto defense alignment complete, sir, Hana said. Our passive shield grid synced with local threat levels. Morgan nodded. Good. An Imperial warning shot fired, a bright lance of energy slicing through space. It struck the human shields and vanished. No explosion, no damage. The Imperial fleet froze. Morgan tilted his head. Was that for us? He asked. Silence answered him. Across Imperial space. Sensors recorded the moment. A small unknown ship, inside Forbidden's territory, surrounded by power, completely unfazed. And for the first time in generations, the Galactic Empire began to wonder what kind of species walked into danger by accident and treated it like nothing. The Imperial fleet held its position. Weapons charged, shields bright. Crews ready for surrender or destruction. This was how it always went. Foreign ships entered Imperial space. They panicked, they begged, or they tried to run. The humans did none of that. On the Imperial flagship, Commander Varric stared at the human vessel. His crest twitched with irritation. They are still calm, he said. No fear spikes. No distress signals. An officer adjusted the scanner again. Commander, their crew heart rates are stable. One is eating. Varric turned sharply. Eating? Yes, the officer replied. Confused. Consuming food. That made no sense. Fear was universal. Fear was the language of power. Yet these humans acted like tourists who had taken a wrong exit. Varric opened the channel again. This is your final warning, he said. You are inside Imperial territory. You will submit. Captain Morgan listened patiently. He waited until the translator finished, then replied in the same calm tone. Understood. Can you point us toward the nearest legal exit? The words landed like an insult. Imperial officers exchanged stunned looks. They do not even acknowledge our authority. One hissed. Varric felt anger rise. You do not ask for directions inside the Empire, he snapped. You obey. Morgan frowned slightly. That seems inefficient. Silence followed. No one had ever called Imperial authority inefficient. The Empire decided to escalate. Patrol ships moved closer, their hulls gleaming with symbols of conquest. Weapon arrays rotated deliberately, a visual threat meant to break morale. Imperial psychology teams watched closely, waiting for fear, waiting for surrender signals. They saw none. Instead, a human ship adjusted its orientation. Not defensively, just comfortably. Why are they repositioning? Varric demanded. They are optimizing signal clarity, an officer answered. So they can hear us better. That answer made the bridge uneasy. Back on the Wayfarer, the crew finally began to feel mild annoyance. Not fear, just inconvenience. We are going to miss our survey window, Hana said. If this keeps up, Morgan sighed. Let's try being extra polite. He reopened the channel. Empire people, he said. We apologize for the intrusion. This was an accident. We are explorers, not invaders. The Imperial commander stiffened. Your apology is meaningless. Morgan nodded. Okay, that was it. No argument, no challenge. Imperial advisors whispered urgently. They do not value their lives. They must be hiding something, another officer added. Our historical records show no species behaving this way unless they possess overwhelming force. Varric clenched his claws. This is a single ship, he said. Do not insult the Empire. To prove dominance, Varric issued an order. Lock weapons, full targeting. Imperial systems complied instantly. Energy levels spiked, missile bays opened across the void. Human sensors registered the change. A quiet tone sounded on the Wayfarer. Threat level increased. Auto defense standing by. Morgan glanced at the alert. Still passive, he said. No need to scare them. Sir, Hannah said carefully. They are trying very hard to scare us. Morgan smiled faintly. I know. The Imperial fleet fired another warning blast. Stronger this time, closer. It washed across the human shield grid and dissolved harmlessly, like rain against glass. Imperial screens flashed error codes. Weapon efficacy 0? Fear finally appeared on the Imperial bridge. Not in the humans, but in themselves. Commander, an officer whispered. That shield profile is not civilian. Varric stared at the data. Realizing something dangerous, they were not dealing with fearless fools. They were dealing with a species that did not see the Empire as a threat. Back on the Wayfarer. Morgan leaned back in his chair. Well, he said, this is getting awkward. The humans had not come to challenge an empire. They had not come to make a statement, but by simply staying calm, by treating Imperial space like a minor inconvenience. They were doing something far worse. They were making the Empire feel small. The Imperial bridge was no longer calm. Officers spoke in low voices. Data streams flooded their screens. Every scan of the human ship made less sense than the last. Commander Varric stared at the shield readings again. They are still passive, he said slowly. No counterattack posture. No threat signals. An analyst swallowed. Commander? Their defenses are not reacting to us. They are reacting to space itself. That statement changed everything. Imperial engineers dug deeper. They compared data, rear-end scans. Checked assumptions. The results stayed the same. The human ship was not defending against the Empire. It was defending against reality. Radiation, micro-debris, energy fluctuations. The shields were designed to ignore attacks like Imperial weapons, not because they were weak, but because they were irrelevant. On the Wayfarer, the crew finally noticed the silence. No more warnings, no more shots. Hannah looked up from her console. They stopped firing, she said. Morgan nodded. Good. Maybe they are thinking. Imperial command channels exploded with debate. Some officers demanded full attack. Others urged immediate withdrawal. This is humiliating, one shouted. A single lost ship should not shame an empire. Another replied quietly. It is not the ship. It is the attitude. Commander Varric turned to the tactical display. How many human systems border us? He asked. The answer came slowly. We do not know. That uncertainty cut deeper than any weapon. Imperial intelligence searched archives. Old encounters, trade logs, ignored reports. They found patterns they had dismissed before. Humans avoided conflict. Humans respected borders. But when they acted, they did so calmly, without ceremony, without fear. One analyst spoke carefully. Commander, historical data shows that humans only panic when they believe panic is useful. Silence followed. Back on the Wayfarer, a navigation update chimed. Course recalculated. Exit vector available. Morgan leaned forward. Send them one more message, he said. A channel opened again. Morgan's face appeared, relaxed, unchanged. We have our route, he said. We will be leaving shortly. Commander Varric felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. They were not asking permission. They were informing him. You cannot simply leave, Varric said. This incident will be investigated. Morgan nodded politely. Of course. We will file the paperwork. That answer confused the translators. But the meaning was clear enough. The Empire was not in control. Imperial sensors suddenly detected distant fluctuations. Not weapons fire, not ships arriving, just echoes. Human communication pings, navigation markers updating across nearby space lanes. Routine traffic signals. They have more ships, an officer whispered. Not here, but close, Commander Varric understood then. This lone vessel was not a threat. It was a sample. A casual presence backed by something vast and unseen. As the Wayfarer aligned for jump, its engines warmed smoothly. No rush, no tension. Morgan checked the crew. "All set?" he said. Hannah nodded. "Ready." The human ship began to glow softly, space bending gently around it. Imperial weapons stayed silent. No order was given. No one wanted to be the one who started something irreversible. As the Wayfarer slipped toward the jump point, Commander Varric realized the truth. The Empire had not been challenged. It had been ignored. And nothing frightened an Empire more than discovering. It was no longer the most important thing in the room. The human ship did not rush its departure. It waited at the edge of the jump vector, engines humming steadily, as if giving the Empire time to decide what it wanted to be. On the Imperial flagship, silence ruled the bridge. No one shouted orders. No one demanded fire. Commander Varric watched the human vessel hang in space, small, calm, and impossibly confident. It felt like a test. Imperial advisors spoke carefully now. "Commander, if we attack and fail," one said. "The consequences are unknown," another added. "If we let them leave, word will spread." Varric knew both were true. He opened the channel one last time. The human captain appeared again. Same calm eyes, same relaxed posture. "You will remember this," Varric said. "This incident will not be forgotten." Morgan nodded. "I hope not." That reply unsettled the room. It was not defiance. It was expectation. Imperial intelligence rushed new reports to the bridge. Civilian data streams lighting up. Observers from neutral systems recording everything. "This encounter is being logged across multiple networks," an officer reported. "Other species are watching." The Empire had always controlled the story. Now the story was writing itself. On the Wayfarer, the crew remained focused. No celebrations, no tension release. "Junk window stable," Hannah said. Morgan gave a small nod. "Before we go," he said, "send them our standard exit courtesy." The message transmitted automatically. A simple data packet containing apology codes, navigation corrections, and a note marked "Unintentional intrusion." Imperial systems struggled to process it. No threat, no challenge, just procedure, as the human ship prepared to jump. Imperial scanners captured one final detail. Energy signatures unlike anything they had cataloged. Not weapons, not shields, something deeper, infrastructure. Networks, capacity. Varric understood then. The humans were not impressive because of strength. They were terrifying because of scale. A civilization that treated a galactic empire as a minor detour. Not an enemy, not a prize, just a wrong turn. The jump field formed around the Wayfarer. Space folding cleanly, precisely, for a brief moment. Human and Imperial crews stared at each other. Across species, across doctrine, across fear. Then the human ship vanished, leaving behind quiet space and damaged pride. On the Imperial bridge, no one spoke. They had not lost a battle. They had lost certainty. Varric finally broke the silence. "Update border protocols," he ordered. "Mark human navigation signatures as high priority." An officer hesitated. "Threat classification," he asked. Varric answered after a long pause. "Unknown." That word echoed through the Empire. More dangerous than enemy. More unsettling than invasion, because unknown meant. The Empire no longer understood the galaxy. The space where the human ship vanished stayed quiet. Too quiet. No debris, no echoes of battle, just empty stars and a shaken empire. Commander Varric remained still for a long moment. His officers waited, unsure what command would come next. They had prepared for victory or destruction, not indifference. "Log the encounter," Varric finally said. "Every detail, across Imperial space." Reports began to spread. A single human exploration ship. entered restricted territory by mistake, ignored threats, withstood warning fire, and left without permission, other empires listened closely. Neutral worlds replayed the recordings. Independent traders whispered about it in deep space relays. The story changed with every retelling, but the core remained the same. Humans were not afraid. Analysts tried to explain it away. They called it luck. They called it arrogance. They called it a misunderstanding. But fear had already shifted sides in distant systems. Border commanders updated their protocols. New unofficial rules began to circulate. If a human ship enters your space, do not threaten, do not fire, ask why they are there. On the Imperial capital world, the Council convened an emergency session. Generals argued for retaliation, diplomats urged silence. Economists warned of consequences they could not calculate. One elder spoke a simple truth. If that ship was only a scout, he said, what does the rest of their civilization look like? No one answered. Far away, aboard the Wayfarer, life returned to normal. Survey schedules resumed. Navigation logs were corrected. The incident was filed under unexpected encounters. Captain Morgan recorded a brief report. Entered foreign territory by error. Encountered hostile response. No damage sustained. Exited without incident? He paused. Then added one final note. Recommend updated star charts. The crew laughed quietly. Not out of pride, but relief. They never knew how close they had come to changing history. Or maybe they did, and simply did not care. Back in Imperial space, monuments still stood tall. Fleets still patrolled the borders. But something invisible had cracked. The Empire had learned that power was not always loud, that confidence could be casual, and that the most dangerous species in the galaxy was the one that stumbled into an empire and treated it like nothing. From that day forward, a quiet saying spread among the stars, never written into law, never spoken in public. If humans enter your space by accident, let them leave peacefully, because they are not afraid of empires, and that should frighten everyone.